how everything can change in a matter of days. It was all good just a week ago. We beat up on the Chicago Sky a few days ago. 35-point victory. Caitlin Clark triple-double. Indiana Fever riding high. Indiana Fever fans riding high. Caitlin Clark supporters riding high. And then, of course, the dweebs do what the dweebs do. They make up nonsense. They make up lies. And the WNBA validate the lies. The WNBA validates the nonsense. The WNBA validates non-truth.
The Indiana Fever aren't playing well anymore. Because of what they see as blatant lies, they are threatening to boycott the WNBA as a whole. These are not merely gossip or rumors. These are grave charges of dishonesty. But nobody is certain of the specifics of the lies, which feeds mistrust and conjecture. It appears that the Fever may be revealing internal disputes or information that the league is keen to keep under wraps. Is this a calculated attempt to increase leverage? Or are we about to witness a huge scandal that has the potential to completely upend the WNBA? Keep an eye out. It's going to get serious.
Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. This dump. This turd of turds known as the WNBA. This damn league can't get the hell out of their own way. They don't get it. They just don't get it. The diva of Dump Divas, Kat Engelbert, she does not understand how fragile this fan base is. And by fragile, I'm referring to their level of loyalty to pretend basketball, which in this case doesn't exist.
Obtain the WNBA drama is going to get much more messy than your last split, so be prepared. With the help of the indomitable Caitlin Clark, the Indiana Fever are rapidly rising to the top of the league. They are the team that every sports executive aspires to, the ideal crowd pleaser, and their success is drawing attention to the league as a whole. Sellout crowds are common, ticket prices are skyrocketing, and hundreds of new fans are tuning in. The WNBA has been longing for the great energy, excitement, and attention that the Fever are providing. The squad is making waves on and off the court, drawing attention, and changing the league's future with Clark at the helm. The league and its supposedly devoted supporters are accusing the Fever of being the issue despite their growing success. Why? Because of the fervent support from Fever fans, or because Caitlin Angel Rhee was the target of a brutal play by Clark? It seems as though the league unfairly singles out their burgeoning star in an attempt to stifle the team's increasing fervor and drive.
You would think the number one thing you'd be talking about after that game, after that amazing performance from Caitlin Clark, the triple-double, the amazing passes, the crazy shots, you'd think we would be talking about basketball. The number one thing you think we'd be investigating is how nobody else in the WNBA has ever done anything like Caitlin Clark is doing. We should be investigating the fact that Caitlin Clark's 4 threes in that game were more exciting than, like, if you go to 2022 and check out the top 10 plays of the WNBA season, her 4 threes in that game were more exciting than those 10 plays. Literally. Like, what she does in one game is single-handedly more exciting than anything we've ever seen in the WNBA. That's what we should.
Let's go back and watch this as if it were a reality program. The fight begins when Angel Rhee, who is well known for her smirks and side eyes, gives a Fever player a full back of the head nudge. A clear gesture that shouts, "I'm here to play rough." Then, in accordance with the rules of the game, Caitlin Clark replies with a fair, clean foul. The league and supporters brand the Fever as monsters and propagate racist conspiracy theories in the stands rather than acknowledge the play. The story is then distorted away from fair play by portraying Angel as the untouchable hero and martyr while ignoring or discounting the initial violence.
This is what started all of this.
It's a flagrant, and then Chicago will maintain the basketball. Reese misses.
Okay, that was it. That noise you heard right there that sounds a little bit like a dolphin was actually a YouTuber called Flight Reacts. A laugh. All right, a laugh. That it's my understanding actually gets played during NBA games too. That's what it's all about, because they tried to say that sounded like a monkey.
Ironically, the only people who regularly sell out venues, buy jerseys, and pack seats are Fever supporters, thereby funding the league. As one star and her team's devoted fans eclipse their ratings, the rest of the WNBA watches from the sidelines, trapped in a disgruntled crowd. The contrast is startling. While some fans seem more interested in turmoil than development, others are driving the league's prosperity.
National television. It's been the most polarizing conversation in all the sports over the last 24 hours, rather. Angel Reese, many would suggest that she overreacted, but Slick, do you have an issue with Angel Reese's reaction to Caitlin Clark's flagrant foul?
Yes, and I have an issue with the way she reacted. I have an issue with the way it's being handled by her, by the Chicago Sky, everybody involved.
The murmurs are nearly audible. Fever fans shouldn't suffer in order for Caitlin to succeed. Stated differently, the league wants to expand, but only if it fits with a victimization and stage drama narrative. It seems as though the WNBA as a whole has decided that undermining the very club that is sustaining the league is the greatest way to raise its profile. They appear determined to sow discord that detracts from the sport's actual potential rather than embracing real competition and public support.
Just really thankful. They continue to show up for us, and they make a lot of noise. Like, they're into it. They're not just sitting there. Like, they're invested in this basketball. It's great for our league. It's great for every team that gets to come and play here. I think we've had a lot of great battles, and they've helped us win a lot of games on this floor. So, like I said, hopefully we can bring the playoffs back here and give them a taste of it because they deserve it. It's been since 2016. So, it's only going to get better and better from here on out.
The startling reality is that the same supporters who have been accused of racism are also the ones that turned out in record numbers to cheer on their side. So what is actually going on? Does it have to do with racism? Or is it motivated by jealousy, a need for dominance, and a fierce rivalry stoked by Caitlin Clark's quick ascent to fame? Drama is what you desire. Caitlin since sliced bread, Clark has emerged as the league's most divisive personality. Regardless of your opinion of her, Angel Reese is regarded as the league's favorite adversary. Every bit of tension that arises is being blamed on the Fever fans. However, the truth is evident. The WNBA may still be having trouble filling half-empty gyms with free ticket placards and awkward quiet if it weren't for Caitlin Clark and the Fever. The league is now flourishing, attracting attention and filling arenas. However, people who ought to be rejoicing are attempting to put an end to it. Both on the court and in the hearts of fans, the Fever continues to thrive despite the league's hesitation. Because the real game cannot ultimately be overshadowed by any amount of trivial drama. Basketball that makes it impossible to ignore the sport and sells out arenas and jerseys. Allow the Fever to run wild. Give Caitlin a chance to shine. And maybe the league will understand that although progress might be messy, it's ultimately worthwhile.
Not a flagrant foul on Caitlin Clark. Listen, I was at the game. If there was somebody being racist or saying shit, obviously boot him, never let him back. I would be stunned beyond belief if that was the case. This crowd, I've sat on the wood for a million games, been in a million environments. The crowd at the Fever game, little girls, families, ladies, nice crowd. You even though it's 100% false, by acknowledging we don't condone hate and not seeing that this was a internet rumor, complete bullshit, you're lending credence to this. There was none of that. It was a great crowd, a positive crowd. Yeah, Angel Reese deserved to get her ass booed when she attacked Caitlin on a normal foul. Other than that,
this WNBA drama has more twists than a pretzel factory, so let's take a moment to reveal more. After years of flickering like a weak phone signal, the Indiana Fever are at the center, rekindling the league's passion. They have Caitlin Clark, the up-and-coming star who is not only shattering records but also exceeding expectations with rapid speed. Attendance at games is swarming. The arenas are completely occupied. Sales of items are reaching all-time highs, while ticket prices are surging as if driven by magic. It is the realization of a marketer's dream. Here's the twist, though. The narrative has changed from the league and fans' unanimous yes, let's ride this wave. The Fever and those that support them are abruptly portrayed as villains who are too loud, too arrogant, and too much in some way. The kind of excess that jeopardizes the well-crafted narrative the league as a whole wishes to present. It's similar to the league's version of You Can't Sit With Us, but with basketball jerseys and dubious officiating on who should be on the court. Rather than welcoming this increase in interest, the league appears more intent on stifling the same group and players who are infusing the sport with fresh vitality and enthusiasm. What exactly is causing all of this instability, then? After that notorious play, which threw social media into a frenzy and appeared to be the start of a serious PR disaster for the WNBA, everything erupted. In a situation that is fairly typical in basketball, Angel
The
Reese.
Fever said they wanted to hone their defensive skills last season. In the offseason, Stephanie White made it a point to drill that idea home. I mean, Caitlin Clark talked about upping her defense, and in the offseason, they picked up a lot of key defenders. They picked up Natasha Howard, who is the 2019 Defensive Player of the Year, and last season, the Connecticut Sun came in first in their defensive rating. So what did the Fever do? They took Stephanie White, they took Keith Porter, they brought in DeWanna Bonner, and they said, we're doing this.
Often referred to as the drama queen of the league and the epitome of attitude, got entangled with Caitlin Clark. Make contact, hurry, and possibly engage in some roughhousing. However, what ought to have been a straightforward altercation during play escalated into a full-fledged scandal that included requests to ban the league for the Fever and charges of racism and unsportsmanlike behavior. Let's dissect it. When Angel Reese shoved a player with a fever, the incident began. A blatantly aggressive move, a cheap shot, if you will. However, she was not the subject of any disciplinary action or negative headlines. However, the story abruptly changes as Caitlin Clark answers with a strong textbook legal tackle. Fans of the Fever are accused of racism. Concerns about fan behavior are sparked by the league, and media outlets go into overdrive, making the story into a spectacle. It seems as though someone unintentionally changed the sports channel to a talk show throughout the day, turning a typical basketball game into a national soap opera. In actuality, it emphasizes how rapidly the topic of identity politics replaces basketball, overshadowing the actual game. However, this is where things become much more intricate. The Fever are more than just the newest squad in town. They are the reason arenas are once again crowded and humming with anticipation. Other teams and their supporters, on the other hand, appear to be more passive, almost as if they are observing from the sidelines. Given that Fever fans are the ones attending in large numbers, one have to question why there is a sudden focus on their problems. It would be equivalent to holding the loudest, most enthusiastic partygoers responsible for the enjoyment of the gathering. The supporters of other clubs are silent, their seats are vacant, and their stuff remains unaltered. Furthermore, we must not ignore the influence of Caitlin Clark on the sport. She is more than just a gifted novice. By joining a league where veterans were supposed to predominate, she is changing the story. Instead, she's taking center stage, changing the narrative, and ensuring that everyone is aware of her permanent presence. Clark is breaking attendance records, selling out venues, and creating unavoidable buzz. However, jealousy, territorialism, and a hint of resentment fuel opposition to her and the Fever rather than celebration of her ascent. It seems as though the league has forgotten that competition should advance the sport rather than stifle it with pointless controversy and personal grievances. Some are attempting to stifle the exact club and player generating the league's fresh interest rather than embracing this new energy.